You're watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Amy, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, thousands remember shooting victims in Aurora. And shooting suspect amassed large arsenal through online purchases. An Obama administration dismisses talk of new gun control laws. And Anaheim police killed 2 Latinos and wound protesting residents. And at least 93 killed in Iraq violence. And Syrian forces retake Damascus district. Assad offered safe passage. And 3 U.S. contractors killed in Afghanistan. And Norway marks 1-year anniversary of shooting massacre. International AIDS Conference opens in Washington, D.C. And AIDS activists protest sex worker ban. And sex worker conference begins in India. And thousands protest NITO in Mexico. And Penn State removes Paterno statue over molestation cover-up. And publisher, columnist Alexander Cockburn dies at 71. GVTV News is broadcast Grass Valley Television, a division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News. In today's first world news story, thousands of people gathered in Aurora, Colorado, on Sunday at a public vigil for the victims of the shooting rampage at the local movie theater. The toll stands at 12 people killed, 58 wounded, 9 of them critical. After meeting with grieving families, President Obama said he brought a message of support on behalf of the country. He said, "I confess to them that words are always inadequate at these kinds of situations, but that my main task was to serve as a representative of the entire country and let them know that we are thinking about them at this moment. We'll continue to think about them each and every day. The awareness that not only all American but much of the world is thinking about them might serve as some comfort." After 2 days of attempts, bomb squads were able to defuse the array of explosives left behind in the apartment of the shooting suspect James Holmes. Police believe Holmes meticulously planned his rampage, spending thousands of dollars on weapons and ammunition that arrived in 90 packages over the course of several months. Holmes' online purchases, done with a few keystrokes, included 3,000 rounds of handgun ammunition, 3,000 rounds for an assault rifle, and 350 shells for a 12-gauge shotgun. When police disabled his booby-trapped apartment, they found 30 improvised hand grenades and several containers filled with gunpowder and gasoline. At least 6 other firearms were also retrieved, according to witnesses. A high death toll may have been avoided because Holmes' weapon jammed as he fired on the fleeing crowd. In the aftermath of the Aurora tragedy, the Obama administration has already ruled out a push to change the nation's gun control laws. On Sunday, White House Press Secretary Jay Carney told reporters, "The president's view is that we can take steps to keep guns out of the hands of people who should not have them under existing laws." Holmes is currently being held in solitary confinement in the Aurora jail ahead of his first court appearance, which was yesterday. Police in California city of Anaheim are facing allegations of murder and brutality after fatally shooting 2 Latino men over the weekend and firing rubber bullets at crowds of protesters. On Saturday, Anaheim police shot and killed 24-year-old Manuel Diaz after he reportedly ran away from a group of officers who confronted him in an alleyway. Diaz was unarmed. One witness reported Diaz had his back to the officers when he was shot in the buttocks. Police then allegedly fired another bullet through his head as he fell to the ground. Two of Diaz's sisters demanded justice for their slain brother. Karina Chavez said once they even shot him in the leg and he went down, the cop continued and shot him in the head. Like, what is that about? My brother did not have a weapon on him at all. And Luke Diaz said, these cops need to know what they're done to us, to our family, especially my mom, and we're going to speak for him and we're going to bring this to justice. Hours after Diaz's death, a chaotic scene broke out when police fired rubber bullets and tear gas at a crowd of local residents protesting the shooting. A number of people were wounded, including several children. Video was taken of a police dog rushing a man trying to protect his infant child. More than 24 hours after Diaz's death, police shot dead another Latino resident in Anaheim, Joel Acevedo. Police said Acevedo was suspected of car robbery. The circumstances around his death remain unconfirmed. Dozens of people have been killed in a spat attack across Iraq earlier yesterday. At least 93 people were dead, along with 140 wounded in 19 separate bombings and shootings. At least 15 soldiers were killed when assailants struck a military base in the province of Saladin. It was the deadliest day of violence in Iraq this year. The Syrian government is claiming to have retaken the district of the capital of Damascus after a week of clashes with rebel fighters. Witnesses reported seeing the execution of several people as Syrian troops conducted house-to-house searches. Violence came days after rebels dealt a major blow to Assad regime with the killing of 4 top officials in a suicide attack. At a meeting in Qatar, Arab League foreign ministers approved a call urging the resignation of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and offering him safe passage out of Syria. In Afghanistan, 3 U.S. military contractors were killed on Saturday when a man dressed as an Afghan army uniform opened fire on a training camp in the province of Herat. It was the latest in a series of deadly shootings by apparent members of the Afghan forces against foreigners with the U.S.-led NATO occupation. And tens of thousands of people gathered at memorials in Norway on Sunday to mark the 1-year anniversary of the bombing and shooting rampage that left 77 people dead. On July 22, 2011, the attacker Anders Behring Breivik set off bombs government buildings in Oslo, killing 8 people before shooting dead 69 people at a Labour Party youth camp, most of whom were teenagers. Breivik has said he targeted the ruling Labour Party because the policies are too open to Muslim immigrants. The head of the Labour Party youth wing, Eskil Petersen, said mourners have done their best to honor the victims, and said so to come together to mark that it's been a year that has gone by as a special experience, by an important experience, and I think we did the best of it. We were together. It's important. We had possibility to show our emotions, your feelings about what happened, and at the same time we had the message that we have to continue living our lives. Arguments in Breivik's trial came to a close last month, and the verdict is expected in late August. A major international conference on global AIDS policy opened in Washington, D.C. on Sunday, the first time the event had been in U.S. soil in 2 decades. Hundreds of people marked the conference's first day with a rally on the National Mall calling for cheaper antiviral drugs and greater international aid. At the conference opening panel, Democratic Representative Barbara Lee of California called for a new push to help AIDS patients worldwide. She said, I think we must redouble our efforts, redouble our commitment to PEPFAR, to the Global Fund, to our domestic national HIV/AIDS strategy plan. And I believe President Obama has so boldly put forward that's the right thing to do. But it's been a bit quiet in this country, and we need to make some noise. We need to put eradicating HIV and AIDS at the front burner of our political agenda, both here and abroad. The conference was drawing controversy from AIDS activists because U.S. restrictions banning sex workers and drug users. Obama administration has lifted a 20-year-old ban that prevented people infected with HIV from entering the country, but sex workers and drug users require a special waiver. At a satellite session with sex workers from other countries, Miriam Edwards of Guyana Sex Workers called for broader acceptance of the sex trade and said, we are part of the general population. We need people to accept sex workers as the general population and stop segregating them as different. Sex workers are human beings and they must be accepted. If not, we will never get to zero on HIV. Sex workers and their allies have protested their exclusion at the Global AIDS Conference in Washington, D.C. by holding a separate conference, the Sex Worker Freedom Festival, in Calcutta, India. At the conference opening on Saturday, Ruth Morgan Thomas of the Global Network of Sex Work Projects said the event was being held to include the voices of marginalized sex workers. And she went on to say the Sex Worker Freedom Festival is organized because of the U.S. travel restrictions that prevent sex workers from all over the world going to the Washington AIDS Conference to participate, as we have done since 1988 when the conferences started. And we are here to talk about our rights of sex workers that are fundamentally to us being able to end AIDS. In Mexico, thousands of students marched against President-elect Enrique Peña Nieto on Sunday over the accusations of electoral fraud. Nito's critics accused him of buying votes and rigging media coverage at his victory over second-place candidate Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Protesting Jimmy Sanchez Barrios said the public protest is the only way to counter Mexican media's bias towards Nieto, and said this is the only way to counter the manipulation of media outlets, their own television screens. They only say what is convenient to them. That's why people are here, those of us who aren't willing to conform, which is the majority, even if they do not want to recognize that. This is the only way we can make them feel our discontent and let them know we do not agree with what is happening, that they want to impose the next president. And Penn State University has removed a new infamous bronze statue of the late head coach Joe Paterno following a scathing report that found Paterno and other school officials covered up the child molestation. A recent investigation found Paterno and 3 others hid the sex molestation allegations against assistant coach Jerry Sandusky 14 years before they finally came to light. On Sunday, work crews removed a bronze statue of Paterno outside the school's football stadium. In a statement, Penn Valley said, "Were it to remain, the statue will be a recurring wound of the multitude of individuals across the nation and beyond who have been the victims of child abuse." And Alexander Cockburn, the long-term journalist, columnist, and publisher of a progressive website of news and analysis, Counterpunch, died at the age of 71. Cockburn was a prolific writer who authored columns over the years of the Village Voice, Wall Street Journal, Nation magazine. In 2007 interview with C-SPAN, Cockburn said he believes liberal U.S. media pundits who backed the U.S. invasion of Iraq should go to Baghdad to hear from the war's victims. Alexander Cockburn said, "From 2003 to 2007, this country is gone and people's lives retrievably. I mean, millions of lives destroyed. It would have been better if they had not gone in. So I have said, I'd like these people to be in Baghdad, you know, having to answer a few serious questions from these poor women and family people constantly searching for their own." And who were against the war clearly and said this is a terrible idea. And that's it for World News today. And now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonah's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter. Pictures in the blotter not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County Law Enforcement, Grass Valley Police Department. On Wednesday, 7:06 a.m., a report was taken from Bell Hill School that graffiti was on the walls. At 8:50 a.m., a report was taken of a car that was burglarized on the 300 block of Columbia Avenue. In 10:51, a report was taken of a lurking man looking in vans and checking doors. At 3:17 p.m., a report from Church and Neal Street was taken about a man stealing a tip jar. At 3:42 p.m., a report was taken from Memorial Park stating that several people were smoking pot in the bleachers. One was arrested on an outstanding warrant, and one was for suspicion of drug paraphernalia. At 6:38 p.m., a report was taken to 100 block of South Auburn of a shoplifter. And 9:46 a report was taken of a fight with a bat involving 300 block of Bennett Street. The witness was not cooperative and one person was cited. And Thursday, 1:28 a.m., a report of a bicycle accident with a man all bloody was taken over 400 block of Mill Street. Man was transported to the ER. And Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Wednesday, 9:01 a.m. A report was taken from the 17,000 block of Indian Springs Road of being pushed into a sewing machine. At 9:09 a.m. a report was taken of nephews stealing a woman's medicine from the 16,000 block of Norleen Way. At 10:02 a.m. a report was taken that a caller's sister who was seeking drugs attacked her with water bottle, and they both tussled on the ground but did not want to press charges. 11:16 a.m. a report was taken of stolen checks and forgery on 11,000 block of Sunset Place. And 11:47 a.m. a report was taken of missing medication from the 14,000 block of Idaho Maryland Road. And 12:03 p.m. a report was taken of fraud on a credit card from the 24,000 block of Oro Valley Road. And 12:08 p.m. a report of misuse of Social Security number for tax fraud was taken from 11,000 block of Buckeye Circle. And 12:26 p.m. a report was taken a man locked a woman in a closet possibly to remove bees from her hair, but was leaving after she broke numerous items belonging to him. And 12:38 p.m. a report was taken an odd device with wires and metal cap, but was found to be not to be suspicious, so a bomb squad was not sent to the 16,000 block of Dog Bar Road. 12:59 p.m. a report was taken of fraud on a credit card that was taken from the 14,000 block of Oak Leaf Lane. And 3:13 p.m. a report was taken of possible real estate fraud from the 15,000 block of Live Oak Lane. And 3:57 p.m. a report was taken of check fraud from the 14,000 block of Lynn Shaw Road. And 8:17 p.m. a report was taken of a stranded boat at Rollins Lake. At 8:26 p.m. a report was taken a man was kicking his truck because it was broken down at the 10,000 block of Crooked Arrow Lane. And 9:41 p.m. a report of pushing and shoving fight with a neighbor at the crossroads of Red Hill Springs and Chalk Bluff Roads. And 10:11 p.m. a report of a person turning violent was taken from the transient's on Coyote Street. And Thursday, 1:29 a.m. a report was taken of a domestic fight with one person being detained from Spring Ranches Road. And 6:26 a.m. a report was taken of burglary of a mine on Grizzly Creek Road. And Nevada City Police Department on Wednesday, at 6:32 p.m. a report was taken of an assault with a suspicion of sexual battery on the 200 block of Commercial Street. The man was arrested. And Thursday, 12:31 a.m. a report of a man peeing on a building was taken and a man refusing to leave. He was getting a ride home. And that's it for the blotter. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got 'em. You like international style lunches? They got 'em. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In today's local news headlines, 17 small fires in Tahoe, all under 1 acre in size. And Butch Butler and Art and Ann Gross to be inducted into the Nevada County Fair's Hall of Fame. California Parks Director Ruth Coleman abruptly resigns. In a story written by Ann Westling, update on lightning fires in Tahoe National Forest, all small, less than an acre. All are in remote areas of the forest. Forest Station air attack planes will fly again later the other afternoon to pick up additional smokes. Approximately 135 Forest Service firefighters are working to contain these fires. Additional thunderstorms are predicted for the area, even in the Sierra Crest, west of the Sierra Crest, and throughout the foothills. Some heavy but scattering precipitation accompanying the lightning. 11 fires on American River District, east of Forest Hill, 3 along Deadwood Ridge, northeast of Forest Hill, 1 controlled, 2 near Duncan Peak, 1 near Sugarloaf Mountain near Sugar Pines Reservoir, 1 near Big Oak Flat, 3 on north side of North Fork American River near Hellister Point and Snow Mountain, and one near China Wall. 5 fires in the Sierraville and Truckee districts, one near Anderson Peak, south of I-80 along the summit, 2 in the Antelope Valley, northeast of Sierraville, 1 contained, 1 in Weber Canyon and 1 in Dark Canyon. Variety of other smokes have been reported. Crews continue to look for them. 1 fire in the Yuba River district, south of Bulliard's Bar Reservoir Dam, that one's contained. In Grass Valley, out of Grass Valley, Butch Butler, along with Art and Ann Gross, have been named to the Nevada County Fair's Hall of Fame. The Fair's Board of Directors recognized the individuals for their longtime support and dedication to the Nevada County Fair. Butch Butler, CEO and president of Butler Amusement, helped start Butler Amusement in 1970 with his parents. At the time of his death in December 2011, he was the company's CEO and president and had contracted with more than 100 festivals and fairs, including Nevada County Fair. During his lifetime, Butch made significant improvements to carnival ride safety and game legislation in California. He was a member of the Western Fairs Association's Hall of Fame and past president of Showman's League of America and Showfolks of America and the Pacific Coast Showman's Association. In nominating Butch, the Fair Board recognized Butler's Amusement great partnership with the Nevada County Fair. They applauded Butch for his leadership in the fair industry, his mentoring, and his generosity as evidenced by his contributions to the junior livestock auction as well as his capital investment contributions. Butch has always been a great friend to the Nevada County Fair, said Sandy Woods, the CEO of Nevada County Fair. He will be missed within the fair industry and especially by the Nevada County Fair team. We are honored to be able to recognize him in this manner. End of quote. Jill Moyer, Butch's daughter, explained her father's love for the Nevada County Fair. My father loved the Nevada County Fair, especially the trees and the fairgrounds and the challenge of placing the correct ride into the center of the group of trees as it was also growing there. He also valued the relationship at the fair. The partnerships with Sandy Woods and Ed Schofield were more friendships than a business relationship, and he loved and respected both Sandy and Ed. Our family is honored that our father has been chosen for the Hall of Fame. He would have taken great pride in this honor. Butch is father of 5 children and 10 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. Ann and Art Gross are being recognized for their time and commitment to the Nevada County Fairgrounds, particularly during the annual Country Christmas Fair held each November, where they have served as Santa and Mrs. Claus for the past 26 years. We've been doing this for a long time. We now see children of children who used to visit us when we started, laughed Art. When asked what made them return each year, Art says, without hesitation, the children. We love the children, listening to them and their requests each year. More often than not, children would ask for something for their parents or siblings or friends instead of something for themselves. It's quite heartwarming. The Grosses live in Rough and Ready and are both active at the Rough and Ready Chamber of Commerce, where Ann is a member and Art is on the board of directors. Art also serves as chairman of the board of the Rough and Ready Volunteer Fire District. They have been married for 51 years and have 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and 9 great-grandchildren. Art proudly reports all of his grandchildren, with the exception of their 7-week-old great-grandchild, have sat in their laps as Santa and Mrs. Claus at the Christmas Fair. Art and Ann have unselfishly dedicated 26 years to bring joy and magic of Christmas to thousands of boys and girls, said Sandy Woods. They have been great examples of the importance of inspiring child's hopes and dreams, particularly during the magical Christmas season. Butler and the Grosses will be formally inducted into the Hall of Fame at an opening day ceremony on Wednesday, August 8th. Butch's daughter, Jill, will accept the award on behalf of her father. So be there. The 2012 Nevada County Fair is August 8th through 12th. If you want more information, you can go to nevadacountyfair.com or call 273-6217. That's 273-6217. California Parks Director Ruth Coleman abruptly resigned and her deputy was fired Friday after state officials learned of her cash-strapped department had squirreled away $54 million in funds unreported to the state for dozens of years. Governor Jerry Brown asked the Attorney General's office to investigate whether anyone in the Parks Department broke the law. The state will also audit the department, which oversees 278 parks on a $384 million budget that has been reduced by a third in recent years. Park officials had repeatedly warned that the latest cut in their department, $22 million, would force the closure of 70 state parks this year. But private donors contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars to prevent closures, and all but 2 of the parks remain open. Many, however, are on reduced hours with fewer employees. This is deeply disappointing because we went to many partners around the state to get them to cover the shortfall, said John Laird, Secretary of the California Natural Resources Agency. I'm truly sorry about that. Coleman has been Parks Director since 2003. In her resignation letter to Governor Brown, Coleman said she was personally appalled to learn that our documents are not accurate. Yeah, it's pretty easy to lose $50 million, isn't it? Brown accepted Coleman's resignation and appointed an interim director, Janelle Beland, who was Undersecretary of the Natural Resources Agency. One of the biggest outcomes of this shortfall has been Alden Olmsted, who, following his father John Olmsted's footsteps, has crusaded to help save the parks. Alden Olmsted, who has distributed 60 donation buckets in Northern California's counties in behalf of particular parks, which so far had raised around $25,000. He said, "I'm shocked and I'm disgusted," but he also said he wasn't surprised because of the frustrating encounters with Coleman and other department executives. For instance, Olmsted in March sent a $9,500 check to the state on behalf of Jug Handle State Natural Reserves in Mendocino County, but he said the state never cashed a check and pooled donations for Jug Handle, nor did it cash a check for $3,000 on behalf of Greenwood State Beach, another Mendocino attraction that was threatened with foreclosure but remains open. One person who has helped raise money with Olmsted's donation buckets is Michelle Baer of San Anselmo. On Friday, she collected $10 from a bucket she had placed in San Anselmo's coffee roastery, put it in the bank, and then learned of the scandal. She said, "I felt duped. I'm kind of it's, well, whatever. It makes no sense to me why all the money has been sitting there." Meanwhile, state lawmakers criticized the hoarding of park money and promised to hold hearings. Oh yeah, that'll really help. That's it for local news today. We would like to thank Amy Goodman, Reuters, Associated Press, Ubinet, Sierra Report, local law enforcement, and others. Oh, I guess we'll thank the union. We're at Source and Over News and you for watching. Due to the complaint from the local paper, we will no longer be using their reports and local stories except for facts of news that we abide by fair use news. Well, we'll still do some of the stories because, hey, they're the only game in town. Understand we do some of the same stories, but they'll be rewritten. Remember, we are only visual video news in Nevada County. We are free for you to watch 7 days a week. If you have a local story you'd like to have them aired on our news, please email us